Hello and good morning. This is Martin Signs, and I am doing a 5-part series on building out your note business. And, thank you for joining me. And today I'm going to be talking about sourcing. So, this is probably the most significant piece to building out one's note business, is because this is, if you don't have any notes in your portfolio, then you really don't have a note business kind of starting out of the gate. I think one of the things that's really important when you are first starting out in building your note portfolio is to determine, what is your buy box? What types of notes are you looking to purchase? How does your financial situation look? How much capital do you have to deploy? How much access to capital do you have to deploy? And kind of starting that as kind of ground zero. Then from that point, the next significant thing to do is to look at what type of expertise you have. So, what are you strong in? What areas are you strong in? Are you, do you have all your processes down for due diligence? Do you have all your vendors set up by which you can perform adequate due diligence? And this is really important because this is going to show the world, this is going to show sellers that you're a serious person, that they don't have to worry about, that the chances of you closing are likely based on your level of having your stuff together. So these are a couple of important things out of the gate before you go to town and start soliciting for notes for purchase. So this plays a lot into what we have spoken about before in terms of identity, and this should be a starting point, kind of knowing what your strengths and weaknesses are, knowing what your financial situation is, access to capital, as well as just understanding where it is you need to go, right? So the more you have clarity on where it is you're taking your note business, then the more you're able to work on the steps to close the gap, the distance between where you're at currently and where you want to be down the road at some point, and have that some point well defined as well. And from that point, the thing is that forming daily habits is really the next step. So first step, have your identity in line. Second is to form daily habits by which you will be planting seeds for sourcing, and really the whole daily effort is the watering of the seeds on a daily basis, and building those key relationships with potential sellers or strategic partners that will help advance you to be able to buy notes and given the parameters you've set for yourself. And so this is key because there's various sellers that are selling various asset classes. So if you don't have clarity on who's selling what, then you could be spinning your wheels, wasting your time, wasting their time. And how do you know if someone is selling notes that are in your buy box? Well, research is how you know. So researching the individuals on LinkedIn, researching the companies, through the website, or just maybe asking other peers in the industry. So research is a really big component of all this, and that should be something that one's doing on a daily basis. Now, the purpose of the video is really just to do a 5-part series on some of the topics we're going to be covering on our next mastermind on June 4th and 5th of 2021 in downtown Sarasota. And it's a mastermind set up for 30 individuals. We already have 6 that are signed up, and We put the word out about 2 days ago. So we should have a healthy showing for this mastermind. And so that's really another, I mean, talk about sourcing. The individuals that have signed up, 2 of them are note sellers. They've been selling some notes recently. So that's another way to really kind of place yourself in a situation where you're surrounded by people that are selling notes. I mean, that's a positive thing. So, who is in your peer network? Who has become strategic partnerships, and really you form strategic partnerships through a whole dating scene, as I've kind of referred to it. You're gonna, connect with different individuals, and then you're going to document. You're going to document, what their objectives are. You understand what your objectives are because we talked about identity. And you're going to progress the relationships with the individuals that have alignment with you, and that's how synergies formed from that point. So finding those individuals, and so where to find those, again, research and daily outreach. There's no shortcut to that. And some of the things we'll cover at the mastermind is building a matrix for yourself, an outreach matrix by which you can measure what your results are from various activities. And what those activities are going to depend on who it is you're targeting. So that's real important to note, who it is you need to connect with. And then from that point, how do you go and close on those deals? How do you go and bring in the capital that's needed with the soft commits you have? How do you go and communicate with the seller up until the point of placing your indicative bid and then bringing it to the closing table, and then all the post-closing communication. So you want to make sure all of that's done on a professional level, in that the sellers are repeat sellers for you, and they're bringing you negotiated deals, and not everything is just a large bidding expedition. When a seller places the notes out on the street for everyone to see. So the whole objective is to, if you have your identity done right, if you have the daily rituals, and you're working towards negotiated trades, when you start closing a few transactions, and you show yourself to be easy, you show yourself to be committed, and you hold true to your word, then what you'll find is sellers will say, hey, look, I don't want to put this out on the street. They may be able to maximize dollars by sending it out piecemeal. However, it's not worth their time. They have 100 different activities going on, so they'd rather just go to you and have, as long as you're meeting their price expectations in the ballpark, then they're going to hand you that note deal, and that note deal is never going to see the light of day, because once it goes into your operation, you're gonna work with those borrowers. You're gonna create payment solutions, if it's a performing note pool, you're gonna manage that note pool to ensure maximized performance is achieved, and then life will be good from that point. So thanks for joining me. I just wanted to spend a few minutes on note sourcing. We are going to cover that in detail. One of the things you hear about on social media is you hear about all the mechanics, right? All the workout methodologies, and you'll hear that all around, but very few people talk about note sourcing. We are going to cover that in depth during our 2-day mastermind session downtown Sarasota. It's beautiful here. It's going to be in the 80s this week. It should probably be in the 80s come June, and look forward to having everyone there. Thank you. Take care.